Before gunpowder shaped the world with explosions, there existed a more terrifying fire weapon. A divine flame that could burn brightly, even on water. A mistake in the journey to find immortality. These had accidentally birthed the power that would crush empires. This is the story of the explosions that reshaped history, long before the first bomb was ever created. In the 7th century, the Byzantine Empire was on the brink of collapse. From the south, a new power was approaching. The Arab fleet, on an unprecedented scale, aimed straight for the heart of the empire. But the Byzantines had a secret weapon, a technology guarded more closely than gold.
They called it Greek fire, a name that would spread terror for centuries.
Our AI simulation reimagines its power. This was no ordinary fire.
AI reconstruction suggests its temperature could exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. The most terrifying property, it could not be extinguished by water. Water only made it burn stronger.
The Byzantine fleet, though outnumbered, had turned the sea into a fire trap.
The ship's structures were destroyed from within, rendering them uncontrollable. The perfect attack plan had turned into a chaotic retreat.
This was an absolute display of power, designed to destroy both material and morale.
Modern scientists believe its composition might have included naphtha, quicklime, and sulfur. But the exact formula, the mixing ratios, remains one of military history's greatest mysteries. Constantinople was saved, not by numbers, but by technology. The most frightening part? The precise formula for Greek fire was lost to history. A military secret kept so well that it died with the empire that created it.
Perhaps it was destroyed to prevent it from falling into enemy hands, or lost in the fall of Constantinople centuries later. To this day, no one has been able to fully replicate the legendary weapon.
The divine flame had vanished, leaving a legacy of destruction and an unanswered question. But humanity would not stop searching for new methods of destruction. While the West fought with fire and sword, a quiet revolution was unfolding in the East. It didn't start on the battlefield, but in the laboratories of Taoist alchemists. Their mission, to find the elixir of immortality. They experimented with everything, including a mixture of sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter. This accident had opened a new era of power.
Initially, Huboya was used for peaceful purposes, for celebration, and to ward off evil spirits.
But its military potential was undeniable.
They created the fire lance, the first personal firearm in history.
It didn't have a long range, but its psychological effect on the battlefield was immense.
They quickly realized that the power of Huoya lay in a contained explosion.
This was the precursor to the grenade, a weapon that caused damage with a shockwave and shrapnel.
They invented the first rocket, a weapon that could attack from an unimaginable distance for its time.
These fire dragons could carry destruction over the fortress walls. The secret of gunpowder could not be kept forever.
it began to spread. From China, it came to India, where it was improved upon and recorded in ancient texts.
Islamic scholars translated the texts, studied, and perfected the formula.
And finally, through war and trade, the knowledge of Hu Yao reached Europe. In the 13th century, Roger Bacon was one of the first Europeans to record the formula in detail.
The entire world now held the three ingredients of destruction in its hands.
For 1,000 years, war was defined by these walls. Whoever had the highest, strongest walls won. These fortresses were the pinnacle of defensive engineering, nearly impregnable.
But when Hu Yao arrived in Europe, the mindset of war began to change.
They didn't just want to spray fire, they wanted to throw stones. They created the bombard. Every shot was a gamble. These machines could just as easily explode on their users.
But the reward was too great to ignore. Point the power to level walls.
AI reconstruction shows the initial velocity could reach over 100 meters per second.
The first shot only left a dent. The wall still stood. But the attackers had something the wall did not: patience and gunpowder.
Each impact was like a hammer blow, weakening the structure from within.
The real power was not in one cannon, but in the concentration of fire.
But in the concentration of fire. A simple but brutal tactic. Continuous attack on the same weak point.
The wall, built to resist catapults and ladders, was not designed for this kind of kinetic energy.
The collapse was inevitable. In a single moment, the symbol of strength and defense had become meaningless.
The era of siege warfare by fortress was officially over.
The most famous event was the fall of Constantinople, where the legendary walls were subjugated by cannons.
Across Europe, lords and knights could no longer hide behind their stone walls. This consolidated the power of kings, leading to the birth of centralized nations. To counter artillery, military architecture also had to evolve. The Star Fort was born.
These designs could deflect cannonballs, starting a new loop in the technological arms race.
The explosion changed the world, and the world changed to counter the explosion.
And from the shrinking of giant cannons.
Humanity created a weapon that could place the power of an explosion into the hands of a single individual.
The era of armor and swords also began to fade.
War was no longer a duel of brave individuals, but of disciplined formations and firepower.
The explosion democratized the battlefield, but in the most brutal way.
The technological arms race continued to accelerate.
Artillery became more mobile and more accurate.
Rifled barrels helped projectiles fly farther and more accurately. The explosion didn't just conquer the land, it came to dominate the seas once more.
Humans even took the power of the explosion beneath the surface of the water.
Creating invisible traps that could destroy the largest of ships.
The search for a more powerful and more stable explosive led to another key invention.
Dynamite. Safer to transport, but much more powerful than gunpowder. It wasn't just a weapon, it was also a tool to build the modern world.
But in war, it amplified destruction on an industrial scale.
For the first time, explosions could be dropped from the sky. No city, no place was completely safe anymore. The war machine became a mobile fortress, carrying its own firepower.
The power of concentrated explosions reached a new level.
But all of this was just a prelude to a completely different kind of power. Power no longer came from chemical reactions, but from splitting the very core of matter. A chain reaction could release an unimaginable amount of energy. The culmination of this journey was a power that could destroy the entire world. A symbol of ultimate power, and also of humanity's ultimate fear.
A journey of more than a millennium, starting from an accident in a laboratory. From millennia
to the accidental explosion of the alchemists.
to the roar that shook the foundations of empires.
The history of explosions is the history of ships.